All right, Kiss Army, welcome to the KissFAQ podcast. Thank you for giving us your time today and letting us into your head. I hope we don't do any damage. This is a Kiss-related podcast by the board for the board. We hope that you enjoy. Welcome to episode 79 of the KissFAQ podcast. I'm your host today, Julian Gill, admin on the KissFAQ message board. And joining me, welcome back from your little field trip, Lonnie. Glad to see you.
Thank you.
Did you have fun?
I did. It was great. I saw Guns N' Roses last night in Kansas City. We had a little bit of an adventure getting there. We had car problems, which was great, but we got there in plenty of time.
Yeah, but you're gonna get there plenty of time anyway because Axl always shows up late.
We went on stage at 9:25 last night, right on time.
Oh, good job.
Axl,
All right.
He's like a reformed character.
He's like a different man.
You know, I got to
That's a
say,
good
I bagged on the GNR reunion. I was like, Axl, I bagged on him for the AC/DC thing. And then I heard him singing the AC/DC stuff. I'm like, okay, he's doing it respectfully. He's pulling it off. And then I heard him singing Guns N' Roses stuff afterwards from the first show. I was like, holy shit, he sounds absolutely fantastic.
He sounds better than
like
Cassidy.
He's taking care of himself, like he's got a respect for his material after going out there and having to sing AC/DC stuff and be extremely respectful to them, that it maybe gave him, who knows, maybe he grew up and suddenly respected his catalog and what especially that first album is, musically. So really cool.
Yeah, I've heard he went and has been working with a vocal coach for the first time in over a decade, and I think he's back to taking it serious again. And it showed last night. They were really professional. They showed up, on time. Came on stage at 9:25, played for almost a good solid 3 hours. I mean, for guys there are no spring chickens anymore. They're in their fifth. I think Axl's 54 to get up there. And it was hot as can be last night, and he was moving around. Didn't let the heat bother him or anything. And they were spot on all night. It was fantastic.
So I think that's hilarious. Axl Rose gets a vocal coach. That's like taking a pit bull to a groomer. But,
my word!
But whatever, if it's working, enough about that reunion. Let's get on with our show. And of course, joining us again today, Ken, 69th Blizzard on the board. Welcome back, sir. And Marcus Almighty, Mark. So just to get some Kiss stuff out of the way, if you've been on the KissFAQ message board recently, you'll see someone's posted some links to Sean Delaney, 2002 Expo appearance. And obviously he's been gone quite a few years now, and he's got some interesting things to say. Let's just say very large pinch of salt. But it's great to see some additional footage of him. If you're like one of us who got to interact with Sean a bit while he was still with us at the end of his life, he was claiming all sorts of stuff, and not all of it's kind of entirely accurate, but it's certainly entertaining. So you can find the board over on the FAQ message board, or it's probably all over Facebook by now. It's certainly very entertaining. Also, I hear that Kiss tickets for the tour are on sale in many markets, $25. And that popped up on Facebook today, so I guess it must be true. Of course, none of them are coming anywhere near me, and I couldn't use any of my Ticketmaster vouchers from the settlement to get any freaking tickets, but that's neither here nor there. And it is Thursday, the 30th of June, which makes it happy birthday to the Love Gun album. And in celebration of that, today, my On Tour series, digital only right now for Kindle, is live up on Amazon. So you want to read all about the Love Gun tour, shock and awe, go check it out. All right, let's get into today's topic, which, it's really quite straightforward. So,
you know what really grinds my gears?
I couldn't resist doing that, and
It's fantastic.
I might even put that back in, when I put the show together. But it's rants and raves. It's what really gets us worked up about the band that we profess to love. What really grinds our gears. Basically for me, it's whenever Gene and Paul use Twitter or attempt to use any social media. But I'm going to throw this one out there to Lonnie first because like I said, I've been sick all week. I haven't really thought about it too much. So Lonnie, what really grinds your gears when it comes to Kiss?
What really gets me going about them, and you bring up a good point with the whole Twitter thing. Whenever one of them gets on Twitter and starts speaking their mind, that's an excellent point. But for me, it's the fact that we're putting out this DVD in August for a show that happened. It'll be almost 2 years later that this show happened. It doesn't take 2 years to put out a DVD. I mean, Motley Crue had their thing in the theater for their last show that they did back in New Year's Eve, and that was 6 months ago. We're doing it. Why does it take so long for Kiss to do anything? And we've talked about this on the show numerous times. It's like, well, Kiss was following trends, and they're always late to the party in that because it takes Kiss so long to do anything. It seems like. So that I think that's what really gets me more than anything. It's like we keep waiting and waiting and waiting for some kind of Kiss news or something to happen, and by the time it does, it's just like, you missed the boat. Like when, like I'll give you an example. Like when that video game Rockstar was really, or Guitar Hero was really big.
That's right.
Yeah.
And Aerosmith had their own game. The Beatles had their own game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, that's perfect for a band like Kiss to have their own rocks, band game like that. Where you could start off in the clubs and you could work your way up to different stages, like the Destroyer stage, the Love Gun stage, the Dynasty stage, you take off the makeup, and then you could work your way up, bam, to Detroit Stadium in '96, and they could put all, and they did have an act, and they did put out like an axe bass for that. But I mean, you could have had Paul Stanley guitars, Ace Frehley type guitars, axe basses, all kinds of stuff that they could really market. And a guy like me, who I don't play video games, but I might have bought into that though. And there's a lot of guys out there like us that would have said, you know what, that's really freaking cool how you can do this, and I want to see it because I want to see how they relate these stages to the video games. And they could put out like demo, like not demos of songs, but like rare live recordings for different
B-sides.
songs. Yeah, you could play along to. It's like, why don't we do stuff that they don't do? It just drives me, stuff that they don't do, I guess, drives me crazy.
Because it makes sense. That's why they don't do it.
Right. And at the end of the day, maybe they were trying to do something, because there did end up being like a Gene Simmons axe bass for that rock band. But but at the end of the day, Gene might have wanted more money than they were willing to give them. We might not know the whole story yet. There might be more to that story that we know. But imagine that Gene
don't forget there was a plug-in pack for one of these games that had Kiss tracks from a
like
live
100,000 years on it or something, right?
and I think Calling Dr. Love. I don't remember because I don't play those freaking games, but
I don't either, but
there was something. But to been able to go into Best Buy and buy a big console box that had the Kiss logo, the live cover, and I think the merchandising ideas that you just mentioned, apart from obviously Gene's axe bass, which obviously was obvious for them, not having like an Ace Frehley smoking or light up guitar, it's just such a miss. That would have been fantastic.
But instead of doing that, we're focusing on Hello Kitty shit and crap like that instead of like really cool things that would have appealed to real Kiss fans and music fans. Instead, we're releasing plush dolls and just garbage.
Oh, you know what? At least you got the Kiss toilet paper to go with that shit.
Right. Oh.
Yeah.
No, and part of the problem, I think, is that Kiss is such a monolithic kind of entity that a lot of things get overthought and over-sequenced and over-scheduled. And look how long the timeline has been for Vegas. Instead of being hit and run, do the show, re-record the vocals, clean up the
put it out by spring,
Yeah, instead of, striking while the iron is hot, there's been a slow burn of, we're going to promote it at this event, we're going to show it on the theater screens, oh wait, now we're going to do a pay-per-view, and then we're going to do 18 different versions.
Yes.
Whereas,
just
I got to hand it to them, these versions of that they're talking about, none of them interest me. I don't want a DVD and a Blu-ray. I either want just the LP on its own, or a CD of it on its own, or perhaps even a Blu-ray or a DVD. I don't want to have to buy a pack which has some funky packaging that means that the DVD doesn't fit next to all my other DVDs. I don't want it, or the CD doesn't fit next to all my other CDs. Instead,
Correct.
I've got this big box that is bigger than an LP, or
And I don't know what to do with.
that doesn't fit in my LP rack. So, that's the sort of thing that bothers me. Oh, my gears are grinding. Yeah.
I can hear them.
Ken, let's move on to you.
Yeah, well, I'll stick on. I'll stay on kind of Lonnie's subject. I agree with him though about the video game thing. Boy, they really missed an opportunity there. I do have that Axe Space game guitar, and I got it, and I only bought one of those Rockstar. I think it was Rockstar's like Greatest Hits or one of those deals. I think it was the other one, the other company that did it. And I remember there is a Kiss song on there. It's probably Rock and Roll Night. I can't even remember now. But one of them, I agree with what really bothers me is this Kissology Forever thing, along with, and including, and again, they're taking so long to do this stuff, just like with the documentary, that thing, what the heck? They were promoting it for a while when they first announced it, and then once that stopped, they don't say anything about it. They won't talk about it. It's like, what the heck happened? And plus, the Kissology thing, I guess finally maybe something's going to happen, because we heard Doc was talking to legal lawyers or who knows what to get this stuff out. I guess
not only 4 but 5 as well, apparently.
Yeah, 5. Like I said, back to back. Well, he was saying Doc. Yeah, Doc was saying he envisioned 4 as a combination of 1, 2, and 3 packaged together in 4, plus additional on top of that. So you'll get everything in Blu-ray, Kissology 1, 2, and 3, plus what extras in 4. So it'd be all one package, that Kissology 4. That's what he said. I hope that's true, and I hope it's on Blu-ray. So we'll see what happens. But that bothers me. Like, I don't know. And plus they have all this stuff recorded, history of the band in concert that they've just never released, and I just don't understand it. I'll just go on to another thing real quick. Is why the heck can't they release some special packaging CDs? Remaster again maybe, but put these new packages, not like the Love Gun one. Expand it beyond that. A bigger package, with the CD, and maybe yes, you can have a second of real demos, a lot of demos, not interview with Gene and some other things.
Like a teaching thing with
expand
Paul.
It. Yeah, that's kind of cool, but I can
listen to that more than once.
I expected the demos around that time, a bunch of demos, which we didn't get. Plus, I would have also liked they could put a DVD in there, or Blu-ray, of a concert, of a Love Gun tour concert. Put that in there too. And then maybe expand it to have a book in there too. It could be in a bigger box. I don't know. But nothing too big. Yeah, nothing too big. It won't fit on Julian's shelf. So, but yeah, there's so much they can do with that stuff. They need to communicate with their darn. I don't think they talk to the Universal at all. I really don't think so. I think they ought to approach them and like, hey, we'd like to do this. Here's a bunch of demos for different periods of time. Let's make special editions of.
Doesn't quite work that way, unfortunately, and they most certainly do talk to Universal, and there are things that I simply can't really talk about when it comes to that. But if only it were so simple of saying we want to do something. Nothing with Kiss is that simple, sadly. And just look at the clusterfucks that are Destroyer Resurrected, what it was supposed to be originally as intended, a 2 CD, what it could have been, and Love Gun, what it could have been. And then compare that to one that they did do well, and I'm going to call the Alive 75 to 2000 box set one that was done extremely well. or not necessarily extremely well, but done very well. Putting everything onto a single CD. The single mix for and the bonus track, and obviously the wonderfully pacey Alive 4 as originally intended. That was just a speed demon performance. Really.
Yeah.
When you got to take it off on there too on Alive 3.
It did the import version, so
they did that right.
Yeah, and it had a nice book, and it was in a nice non-standard folding slipcase that doesn't quite fit properly, but is close enough. So, and it was well done. Mark, we're leaving you very silent here. Before you wander off again, let's get one of yours.
Well, just to further what Ken was saying, I think what he's envisioning is something like this. This is King Crimson's Thrak box, which is one of their albums that they released years ago, but they re-released it. As you can see, there are many discs and Blu-rays and DVDs, live performances, alternate versions of the album, 5/1 mixes, new stereo mixes. Anything you can think of is on here. Okay, they have road movies, they have the EPKs, they have a performance in Japan, they have if you think of something that you could do to expand an album, it's done here. You know what I mean? It's just unbelievable. I'll see if I can just hold it up a bit better again for you guys, but it's just unbelievable with the amount of stuff that you can get on here, on there. And in a world where KISS maybe were not at the mercy of giving up their rights so much, and maybe if they owned them more, like a band like this did, where they went to court, and don't forget, Robert Fripp took, Virgin Records and these labels to court for many, many years and battled out in court and pretty much put that band on hold to get his rights back, and then could do these things because of that, right? But that's neither here nor there when it comes to KISS. But if they were able to do that, maybe KISS in an alternate world could do something like this, make a a Destroyer like that, or a Rock and Roll Over like that. I'd love that, right? But that's I think what everybody's kind of hoping for. I know Ken's hoping for that. I know I was always hoping for something like that. But just like Julian said, for reasons that are beyond what we know, I'm sure those things can't happen for certain reasons, and most of it's probably illegal, and most of it's because they gave up rights before and stuff like that. And unfortunately, that's how it is. And I'm hoping they can do something cool still. Maybe if they try to mend some bridges with these people, or I don't know what they have to do it, but just something to get something going. But getting back to KISS now, just really quickly, there's two things really that irk me about KISS. Now, I have a kind of Jekyll and Hyde relationship with KISS, where the same thing that I kind of love about KISS might also be the thing that kind of pisses me off about them a week later. But the one thing that really bugged me, and this happened kind of recently, because I pulled out my Kissology DVDs, and I like watching them on commentary, because it's kind of fun just listening to some of the things that they talk about and stuff like that. And something Paul Stanley said on the third one that's really pissed me off that he said it, and I need to address it, because it's one of those things that they seem to do, and it really bothers me, is on the 2000 show, that last KISS episode, they talk about that how they knew that they had to, split up that band because they were becoming predictable. Now, as soon as I heard him say that, I stopped for a minute and go, you know what? If that was predictable, what the hell is going on now? You want to talk about a predictable band?
Yeah.
I think everybody on the KISS FAQ board can write out the set list for a KISS show now before they even play their first performance of the tour.
Well, that bunch of haters?
Absolutely.
No way.
Oh, we can all tell you what they're going to play next week when they go on tour. Come on.
Now, if that's not predictable, then I don't know what the hell is. We've done many episodes on this show talking about what kind of different stages they could do, what kind of different designs, what can they do to change up stuff, and why are we talking about that? Because they're predictable as hell, these people. What the hell is going on here? You're talking about a band that at one point everybody was looking up to and we're trying to follow and be in the same, bubble of, excellence as they were. And now, there are so many bands that have eclipsed them now as far as excellent stage shows that, in my opinion, personally put Kisses to shame. I mean, like I said before, that last Rush tour that happened was phenomenal. The whole idea of going through and changing their stage setup on stage as the performances were happening was absolutely mind-blowing and excellent. I loved it. I loved how they went through their whole catalog from beginning, from the newest stuff all the way back to the beginning, and changed their set on stage to make it look like they were going back in time, literally to like 1 amp each at the end of it. You know, a little rinky-dink amp on a chair each. Like that's Canadian humor and Rush humor as well put into that. But that's, don't tell me you can't do those kinds of things. And Kiss, they have the resources and stuff like that to do it. I mean, they have some great, big huge stages. Don't tell me you can't think of something more innovative to go out there and make the show more, like, to make it different, to mix it up a bit. I mean, that's the thing that bugs me. He goes on there and blames Ace and Peter, saying that, we became so predictable as a band, but you know what? You're still predictable now, even without them. So what's really changed?
Yeah,
Yep.
they need they need some washing machines on stage, or some rotisserie
Amen.
chickens.
Watching machines.
That's right.
I can't remember which Rush DVDs those were, but that was freaking hilarious.
That was Test for Echo and stuff like that. They did that. They had Geddy Lee had a washing machine, because what they pretty much did is that they wanted to get rid of the cliche of the whole, 7 stacks of Marshalls on the stage. So they got rid of them and put like rotisserie chicken things on there and stuff like a whole stack of those, or a whole bunch of dryers and stuff on stage, in which the roadie would come out on stage in the middle of the set, open the dryer, take out the towels and the t-shirts and start throwing it into the crowd. Right?
Yeah. No,
which was fantastic.
Awesome.
That's funny.
And that is a real problem with Kiss and the stage show, which the stage show is just so freaking boring and overdone and really kind of the same now that it's like, I can't wait to see what it is next week. I know Eric Singer's made some comments recently about it, but I read the thread and I can't remember a thing about it, so I'm not going to go there other than to say that there's a thread. But what is there going to be? Video screens with fake fire? and those really naff, they're totally naff animations, especially the War Machine. Well, the War Machine was kind of cool, but
well, it was cool. It was cool the first time, but 5 years later, like, all right, I've seen this a few times.
Seen it enough times.
And after Vegas, that stage was cool, but it was custom made for that environment, really. With the stuff that came out over the ceiling and was over you, which is really kind of a nice way to see it, but there's no real way for them to do that in concert, in the places that they're going to be playing in the summer. But what could they do? I mean, why would they, number one, want to invest that much money in doing anything when they are now nothing more than a legacy greatest hits kind of touring package that's, especially for the markets that they're playing, those markets have not seen these stages. So for any of the people who haven't traveled to see shows, it's still going to be exciting enough. So from that, kind of reasoning, they have no reason to change anything up for this summer. It's not for the people in the big cities. It's for those people who've been neglected for many years. So.
Yeah. But honestly, Julian, okay, you're correct. I understand that. But I mean, the times have changed, though. I mean, these people who haven't gone to these shows, I'm sure they have internet. I'm sure they have access to YouTube and could have seen these stages on these various clips and could be aware of them. So it's not like it would be a total shock. I could understand if it was one of those times when we didn't have the internet still and they would bring these same stages to those places, then it would still be a total surprise. I could totally get it then. But I mean, now, a surprise is really on the first show, I find, because after that, people have taken video of it, they've posted it everywhere, and now the shock is gone.
The set list before you get there. I mean, back in the day, you didn't know the set list before you got there, but now everybody, I mean, all you have to do is type in the set list. Everybody knows what the set list is to a show, unless it's the first show.
And that's another thing, too. That's another thing, too, because, I mean, when that last Rush tour happened, I was going online every night of that tour because they were doing a rotating set. They had a set list A, set list B, and people were going, okay, what the hell is going to be set list C? It's like there was still some excitement to it. Like, what are they changing to put it in? And I mean, I know that they say that, Kiss has a very planned out stage thing. There's pyro and this and that, but come on. These guys had planned out stuff too on stage Rush and stuff like that. I mean, it's not like you can change a song or two here every night and make some adjustments to it. I mean, these guys have lots of video that they do too, lots of things that they play to a click. I mean, come on, it can be done.
Oh yeah, totally. And there's something.
It's not.
There are computers now. that do amazing things.
Yes, exactly.
You
That,
know?
all of a sudden they break into this song. Oh, we hit this sequence of lights if they break into this song.
I mean, hell, reprogram your fricking set list, so that you change the order, or you punch in, okay, we're going to put our D song in tonight because Kiss is not going to have 4 different set lists, are they? They're going to have maybe 2 different songs, one that gets performed one night and one that doesn't, get performed. That's as far as they go.
Right.
Out of 15 songs.
Right, you rotate a few songs in and out, and they can say, okay, tonight we're going to do Making Love, and tomorrow night we're going to do I Stole Your Love or whatever. And, the roadies know that, or, who's ever running the board knows that. And, okay, well, these sequence of light goes in at this point in time tonight. It can't be that difficult that, oh, no, we have to do the same exact set list night in, night out. And I think, Mark, you hit it right on the head. I think that's what grinds Kiss fans' gears more than anything, is the predictability of the band. And, you guys mentioned that Kiss tickets are on sale for the tour that are coming up, and that's coming up. And I think there's a reason why. It's because I think even the hardcore Kiss fans, it's like, you know what? I know they're going out on tour, and I've spent a lot of money on it, but, I know what it's going to be. And I think Kiss fans are kind of to that point where I know what it's going to be because I've seen them the last 4 or 5 times they've come to town. And I've traveled to see them the last 4 or 5 times that they've toured, and I know what it's going to be. And I think the Kisses is just, like Julian said, they've just become like a showcase act or like a heritage act almost, and like people know what they're going to get when they go to a Kiss show. And I think Gene and Paul like that they know what they're going to get when they go to a Kiss show because they've built this legacy. But at the same time, you have all these albums worth of material and you don't change it. And I think Mark hit it more. I mean, I mentioned the Rock Band thing, but I think Mark hit it more than anything. That's what bothers Kiss fans more than anything, is the predictability of the band, not only with the stage show, but also with the set list.
I'm going to say it's not predictability; it's laziness. I really don't believe that they're willing to invest the effort in making grand changes or even rehearsing additional songs or sitting down and really thinking about it. Now it seems to be the path of least resistance, the least amount of effort that it takes to put the product on the road in order to coast to the finish line, which only they know where that finish line is. So it's really, it's just pathetic, really. I couldn't even be bothered to travel this time to go and see him, and would have been the perfect time.
Here, I went and saw Guns last night, and I'll tell you what, I even told my wife this morning. I was like, you know what, I understand why bands play the hits, because they came out and they started with It's So Easy, and everybody knew that because it's on Appetite, and everybody has Appetite, and they played Mr. Brownson. Everybody knew that because everybody has Appetite. But then they went into Chinese Democracy. Well, people and they kind of lost it right there, and they went because it was like not everybody bought that CD. But then they went into the Jungle, and everybody knew that. And you could see, like, the crowd just go up and down from what they were playing. But with Kiss has a handful of songs that everybody knows. With Detroit Rock City, with Rock and Roll Night, with Love Gun. And you can mix in and out 100,000 Years and Making Love and I Stole Your Love. I mean, I'm not saying you got to go out there and play all the way every night or something like that. But you can play some of those midstream hits, and the same amount of people are going to know them. But it was really interesting to me to see that last night, how the crowd just fluctuates up and down from like, and then they're playing This I Love off Chinese Democracy, and then Slash has a solo and goes into Sweet Child of Mine. The crowd just goes berserk. And then they go into something else, and it falls, and they just lost their energy and goes back down. It was like a roller coaster a lot of the night. It was really kind of interesting to me. But people that are going to a Kiss show are going to see the show. Yeah. And my wife said, that was fun last night, but because I knew a lot of the Guns N' Roses songs, she said, but a Kiss show is fun because I think Kiss is better at putting on the show. And for a lot of fans, that's what it's about. It's going to the show, and the music is just a soundtrack to the show for a lot of fans.
Yeah, you know what?
That would be the casual fan.
Yeah, correct. But that's the thing. That's the thing, though. I think one thing that we're kind of dancing around here is that I think that Axl, and I'll give him credit for this, I think Axl still has that artistic fire burning in him still to make something credible of Guns N' Roses still. Whereas I kind of find Kiss are kind of just like trotting and jogging to that nest egg that they're trying to build up for their retirement, and just, like you said, path of least resistance. Let's just keep it what we know is going to work. Let's not put in too much extra cash. Let's make as much as we can now, because pretty soon, we're going to be sipping those, lattes on the beach when we're retired and chilling out. And that's why I don't think they're making a new record. That's why I don't think they're investing in other things too, right? I think Guns still has that burning fire to do it,
Well, I think you're right, Mark, because if you can sell a microphone to somebody who's willing to pay $3,500 for it, and you're willing, and a guitar for $8,000 that I played for one song on stage, and more power to you if you can afford to do that, and if you have enough FU money that you can just go ahead and just drop that kind of jack and go ahead and do it. That's great. I don't have if you can do that, that's great. But I think it just comes to a point, like you said, of just like exploiting it for the money and not the artistic ability at a certain point.
Yeah, there's no artistic left in
Creative
the equation.
or anything.
But in terms of Axl, I think that he's put in, and this is going off a little bit on a tangent, but he's getting Slash to play Chinese Democracy, and the songs from that album is giving it. He's managed to get legitimacy for that album, which a lot of GNR fans are like, there's no one on that album apart from Axl. It's not a Guns N' Roses album. So by getting him to play that, he's making that art that he made and poured 10 million years into.
That's why they're still playing 3 songs off of it, because they won't let it go.
This is why they need Kiss needs Ace back too. I think it would definitely change the set list. If nothing else, they're going to change that. Plus, to have him on stage playing his solos like Ace plays them, the sloppy way, and not the
smoky guitar,
not the Tommy Thayer perfect way. I guess I don't know what you would call kind but I mean, no disrespect to Tommy. I think he's great, but I think that might reinvigorate or kind of spark the band a little bit. If they brought him back, maybe they do an album and then tour, do an album with Ace and Eric and tour. I think it would be a boost. To creativity, maybe.
Kick in the ass.
And I think the sad part about that too is that look how many records Ace has released in this time. You know what I mean? Come on.
That's the other thing.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he would give them a little bit of a kick in the rear end to say, hey guys, I've released 3 records. What have you guys done? Kind of thing where, like give them a little bit of a, light them up a bit. You know what I mean? Like, why not?
Exactly. They need some kind of kick in the butt, like Lonnie said, something to push them to do that. I mean, geez, their stock market dropped completely out and they lost all their money. Maybe they say, oh, shoot, we better get our butts in gear and try to make some money or something. But I don't know.
Well, even at that, you're talking about what bothers us about the band. I wish they would do that they realistically could do. Is that they go on the Kiss cruises and they pull out these gems that the hardcore Kiss fans want to hear. Well, and I'm not saying that they should do this every year like they do a Kiss cruise, but maybe once every few years. And this is the 6th Kiss cruise coming up. They've had the opportunity to do this for a while now, and they saw how it went over with the hardcore fans. Is that why not go out maybe right after the Kiss cruise or something like that in November and play 6 or 8 North American cities and play small theaters, like small theaters, like 1,000-seat theaters, 2,000 seats. Thank you, Julian. And play those type of set lists in that type of setting and charge $200 a ticket. I don't think it's that funny. I think it's a very realistic idea.
No, I think do it. Do the Creature. If he's right, you could do
something
the
like
Creature
that.
show and bring it on.
$300, even if you want to charge $300 a ticket, and do them and do it in Chicago and San Francisco and New York and Dallas and places like that. And even the Kiss fans who went on the cruise from Chicago are still going to go to something like that. And you're going to get people from in the area say, oh, wow, they're playing like a small, not only am I going to get to see Kiss in a small theater type setting, but they're going to play some of these songs that I've always wanted to hear them play. And I'm not saying doing it in a bunch of cities, doing like 6, maybe 8 cities, something like that. I think that'd be something that fans would just eat on.
Easy tickets.
Yeah, and you could charge, like I said, you could charge $200-$300 a ticket, and they would sell out.
You could do it.
Yeah, but I think though there still has to be an element of something more special to those shows. It can't just be that we're just going to be playing, a small theater. Like maybe they have to make some sort of a theme around it too. You know what I mean?
Play an obscure type set list too. Not just for the sake of seeing them in the theater where they're going to play Detroit Rock City, Love Gun, and I Love It Loud. No. You got to play like the Kiss Cruise style of set list with All the Way or Love Her All I Can.
But what I'm saying though is to make it even more kind of specialized. Like for example, I think it was Kiss Cruise 3, was it, where they came out in their suits to do the Dress to Kill kind of thing. Even kind of something like that, where they do something specialized like that, where they came out in totally different costumes. Like make it something that people will really remember for that. Not only because it's a small theater and it's intimate, but give it a kind of a vibe to it that's like, wow, I never saw something like that.
Maybe come out wearing Depends or something.
Word.
That'd be shocking, wouldn't
it? Shock me.
Whatever works for you, man.
Well.
Actually, mentioning the Dress to Kill suits, Metallica now copying Kiss. Yep.
Oh, really?
Yep, they've hooked up. They've hooked up with a designer as well, and yeah, Lars looks like a ball sack completely.
So getting off the set list, I'll just go on to something else real quick that I had written down. And this is just a minor thing for me, I guess, in a way, but it's a rant. Now, Gene's makeup.
That's good too. That's good.
That's more to do with his plastic surgery, isn't it?
I don't know. I think you can design it any way you want on the face of the makeup, right? If you draw it a certain way, it'll work. I don't think because he's had so many pulls back on his skin or whatever, and injections and who knows what else, that it's not going to affect it too much. But yeah, he's and he moved the wig down a little lower to create a lower forehead too. You can do that too. I think Paul does it. I don't know. I mean, the thing, and then the eyes. The eyes, around the eyes. He's not always blacking them. And I guess as a extension to that, get that evil looking makeup back from Destroyer or Love Gun or even Creatures. It was a lot better than the makeup he's doing now. And then the other thing is, come on, act like the demon on stage. I don't want you goofing around and doing googly eyes and stuff. I want the old demon back that, gritted his teeth and it looked like he was going to bite your head off, Back then, that's the demon I want on stage. I want him, lean and mean. So, yeah, that's a bother for me.
Yeah, but now if you think back to what was it, the Mike Douglas show, '74, Toady Fields.
Oh yeah.
He
didn't know what he was.
If under all that makeup, you're just a nice Jewish boy. Is your mom watching this? Now everyone knows that he's a straight arrow.
Sure, but still you can.
So now having
you can still have the Superman Clark Kent transformation though.
Yeah, but
you still
Gene Simmons, he's opened his mouth too many times in the past 40 years to have any cred with trying to pull off the demon character any longer.
What?
Oh, that's my door. Hold on. You guys continue.
Well, I think he could still pull it off, like he used to.
You can have the Superman Clark
It's
Kent.
kind of like when when they took off the makeup, he was still in that character, though that didn't look right so much without the makeup. But you could see he was doing the same
Sticking out his tongue,
expressions and everything else
clenching his teeth
during Lick It Up. So yeah, he can just get that back. I mean, it shouldn't be that difficult for him to do that. So that's just part of that.
Yeah. I'm with you on the makeup, though. The makeup just looks goofy the way he does it now.
And, yeah, he can make it more evil looking. Definitely. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I always just wonder, like, how much age is a factor in some of these things. Like, I mean, do you think that maybe it's one of those things now where, he says to himself, I'm 60 some odd. I don't know if I want to be acting like I'm, some demon. I want to, you know what I mean? Like,
or for the retirement age,
Oh.
So we'll be a poor man's Kiss My Wax.
Ooh.
Oh, good.
Ooh, what did I get? That's what grinds
I
my
sense
gears.
I sense cassettes.
Yeah, I think so. It's probably another frickin' elder. Yeah.
And?
Can't get into it. Oh yeah. Elder.
Where is that
nice.
one from?
This one is Spain.
Oh.
Oh, nice.
So I'm a
Set
loser.
from Spain.
I'm a loser. I admit it.
No.
All right.
Not on this show.
Well, but you know what? I'm gonna say this though, getting onto another thing though, another little rant thing, but I'm gonna say something though, in a positive light though, that I like about Kiss. Okay, this time, and that is, I think more than most bands in the world, I admire Kiss because they've really found a way to get their products and their merchandise in every possible nook and cranny around the world. I think their whole marketing thing is excellent. And I'll just tell you a really quick thing here. This morning, I decided to take my mother to go shopping at a garden center because she's big into gardening and stuff like that. And I figured, I'll be a good son. I'll go take her and buy her some flowers and stuff like that, because she really likes doing it. So I went there. Now, I'm in this place down, 30 minutes away from my house, down the country road, middle of nowhere, and in the corner of my eye I see something and I'm like, what the hell is that? And I look and I see this, a Kiss coffee mug. Okay, and according to the bottom of the box it says it's official Kiss Online. I don't know,
That's a few years old. Signatures.
Yeah, but my whole point is that the last thing I would have expected in this garden center, would have been to go and buy myself a Kiss coffee mug, that came from apparently their Kiss Online site. Now, if that doesn't show the stretch and the reach of Kiss and their marketing, then I don't know really what does. I mean, that's like finding stuff like that in, I don't know, like in a health food store or something, and some obscure place that you would never expect to find it. I mean, I really didn't think that I would find that in a garden center, Is
that where you would, plant your Kiss pot?
Yeah, I suppose that would be where you would go for your Kiss planting needs, right?
Yeah, your planting needs. Yeah.
Planting needs.
So what you're really saying or alluding to is Kiss is a virus, a plague that has reached all corners of the planet, so that they have become utterly successful in their business model.
Yeah, well, if one thing
you cannot escape from them.
Yeah, if that's one thing that they've been very successful in, is that. Maybe not their set lists or stages, but they've been successful in infiltrating all of our marketplaces.
And that's the part that really bums me out about the band as much. When we're so desperate for music and demos and videos and exciting shit relating to the music, which is what got me into the band in the first place, is that we're left with seeing Hello Kitty on a store shelf or going by some retro hipster bullshit store where there's a Kiss t-shirt being worn by someone who's just bought it because it looks cool, and that they have basically sold themselves to any product that there's for my personal
anything they can they can possibly put their name on.
And this is all subjective again, because I have zero interest in any of that crap. It is, 95% of what I see I wouldn't buy. I kind of chuckle at. I don't, resent anyone buying it who is into it because it's personal choice, but I just think it is just so lame, Well,
I just bought it mainly because
depressing.
of the show today.
Yeah,
I mean that's the reason why I bought it, because I knew we were gonna have a rant, but as soon as I saw that, it just stuck out to me. I go,
you know what? A Kiss mug is at least something that you can use.
Yeah,
I have my Kiss.
Unless it's
I have
going to
my
sit
Kiss
in your
mug
package.
I drink coffee out of. So.
Yeah,
Right,
I've got one at work as well.
Other, like plush doll and crap like that.
But it's these stupid things that have been licensed that have absolutely nothing to do with reality. I also get bothered by the Kiss ashtrays and the Kiss alcohol. Coming from Gene, I find that horrendously hypocritical. And you know what? Here's a memo. Gene is human. So, $1 instead of integrity, majority of people are going to go for the dollar. But I think the ashtray in particular and some of the drug paraphernalia or stuff that can be used for that, and some of that may not be official, so you've got to be very careful around that. But smoking, yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, so...
Nothing worse than an ex-smoker. So,
I got a question for you, Julian. If you know something on the inside, maybe, I don't know. But what's their contract length with Universal? I mean, is it almost up, or?
I have no idea. I haven't heard anything out of the business side of the band in many years. I would think that they're probably on an ad hoc arrangement, that if they want to do something that they know that it's smarter to do it through Universal, who is still the major label with all the distribution and all the backing, rather than doing Kiss Records, which is just kind of pointless, which is why they went back with them. But I have nothing to back that up factually. It's just kind of a gut feeling that they're so lazy that running Kiss Records was too much effort when they can just get Universal.
When they went back with Universal and they released Monster, I was really hopeful that meant that, well, maybe with the backing of a major label, that we're going to get more product and better product. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that really hasn't happened. We got that singles box set, which was really cool, but we really haven't gotten, like, they used to have like a some kind of release every year, as far as some kind of like that Kiss Alive 75 to 2000 box set that we got. They used to have some kind of product every year for a while. And we really haven't gotten that. I mean, I know we're going to get the Vegas thing here next month, but I don't think we're going to get another major Kiss release before the end of the year or anything like that.
You know what, though? That leads me to believe, though, that what Julian says is correct, though, because usually when you sign a record contract, within the contract itself, it'll tell you that you have to deliver X amount of records within X amount of time, is usually the way they line it out, right?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of thinking that what probably happened here is that they signed them to release Monster, and now everything beyond Monster is probably on some sort of an optional basis with the label that they both need to agree on. Whether Kiss says, yeah, I want to do it, the label, I think, would still probably have to give final okay to doing it. I mean, it's not like I don't think they signed a contract with them now saying you have to release 3 albums in the next 5 years. Otherwise, they would have done something. I don't think that they did that at all. I just think this was a one-off, and that's it.
Totally, it's not a traditional record contract. If you look on the back of Monster, if I recall, it says something to the effect of license exclusively to Universal.
Yeah.
So it's simply they're calling up Universal and saying, "Hey, we've got something interested." It's probably their first stop.
Why don't they try?
Ken.
Sorry, I was just gonna say. Go ahead, Ken.
All right. I'd say why don't they try to buy back their licensing? I'm sure it would cost a ton of money, but you know what? Maybe they're making enough money on Rock and Brews and whatever and whatnot. I mean, they have enough money to buy it back, and then they can look down. If you see in the future, it's going to pay itself off in the future. Maybe not for while they're alive. Because their family, their kids,
their catalog doesn't shift anywhere enough units to justify rebuying anything that they've already been paid for, because they got better payment whenever they sold the catalog. I don't remember the year, than they would ever, Hori Pro would want to recoup. And I don't even know how any of that thing's structured now, but they do
They
not.
wouldn't see the return up.
They don't shift sod all in terms of, material. They do very well when they release a DVD package, but their back catalog is not selling. And when we had the SoundScan figure, we're overdue actually to try and get an update of SoundScan figures. So if anyone has a account in Nielsen SoundScan who would like to do a quick report for me, we would obviously freely share it and keep your name out of it. Mark, you were going to follow up with a point, so please do.
No, I was just going to talk about with the licensing that usually traditionally it was a excellent way for bands to go. I remember when I was in my couple of bands I was in and I was talking to our music lawyer, he was always pushing that avenue where he was saying, we're better off for you to record, pay for it yourself, and then go out and try to license it to various different places, like give a licensing deal for the US, licensing deal for Europe. This way you have different avenues where money comes in for your band, which is probably what they were thinking. Obviously Universal being the big label now, they're probably all getting it from the same pool now, but back in the day when there were many different labels and many different options, that's what they kind of looked at doing and what was the way to make a lot of money. Like when Maiden sold off their catalog for that 5-year period to a label and they got a huge chunk of money back for it, and I believe Bowie did the same thing. A lot of these bands did that to jumpstart their careers because they got a huge chunk of money, and 5 years the rights reverted back to them after they, after those labels made a shitload of money re-releasing their catalog. Mm-hmm. But that's all timing, and that's all you have to strike when the iron's hot when they're still selling. Then though.
Yeah, and now there's no option for Kiss. We've mentioned my next kind of thing that really my rant several times before on the show. And it's the inability for Kiss to do anything in relation to Record Store Day on a yearly basis.
Yeah,
it seems to be such a big gap for Kiss Online, which if you remember the Sonic Boom vinyl, they sold it, I believe it was exclusively through Kiss Online, and then there was a certain amount of overstock that was available through, I think Kiss Army Warehouse, had access to. So it all very much came through an official source. Record Store Day would be such a perfect opportunity to Kiss, get them into the record stores, which I think Nigel's probably bought everything in Northern California while he's been here that was in the record stores, but
seems that way.
Now when I go into the record stores in San Francisco, and it may just be I'm unlucky, there's nothing in the record stores except for the frickin' reissues, which
the reissues,
the reissues, they're even in the used bins for $20 a pop, which is more than I'm not paying that for a Kiss record. And there's nothing. But how exciting it would be at Record Store Day to go in, either get a 45 with put Rock and Roll All Night on it, do a different version like that demo that surfaced a few years ago, something different. Mm-hmm. But again, we probably are running into the relationship issues between catalog, record label, and the archive. And the person who takes care of that business for the band. So it's just such a shame. It seems to the layman such an easy thing to do. If Metallica can put out a cassette on Record Store Day of their Kill 'Em All demo or whatever it was it Metal Up Your Ass or
Metal Up Your Ass?
Yeah, and the Foo Fighters. I'm sorry, I like David Grohl and the Foos. They always put cool shit out. And all these other bands that have done really interesting stuff.
Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden did Empire of the Cloud. They did a picture disc.
It was a picture disc, and Cheap Trick had something this year too, among others. And the thing is, to me, I think it would be a win-win because you're going to get exposure too to other people that maybe didn't listen to Kiss who just like to buy exclusives. You may catch a hook something like a fish and like, oh, this is pretty good. I'm going to start investigating in this other Kiss music now and start buying the back catalog.
Because if you think about it, there's a lot of people now, when I listen to these different kind of vinyl podcasts, lots of people are getting into the whole record store day thing just as an event itself. Whether and you know, and just going for those kind of things where they say, oh, you know what, I found this really cool colored disc or colored vinyl of some band, and I bought it because it looked really awesome. Like there's a lot of people out there that are doing that. So like you said, you might actually snag a few more fans if you made something like that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and some of the exclusives for the different the stores that still exist that sell vinyl. I mean, look what Ace did recently. I don't think it was specifically for Record Store Day, but you know, with his version of Origins for what was it, FYE, you know, which only had a black border on it. I mean, you know, nothing spectacularly, you know, interesting, but still for $33.98 retail out here in California anyway. You know. It was a good idea for and it did have a different guitar on the front, I think, as well. So
yeah, it did.
Can't remember. I have to dig mine out. So
yeah, there's a different guitar.
It just seems to be something that they continually miss. But what else have they missed? Have they missed any merchandise? You guys think that are just so obvious that it's kind of dumb?
Any merchandise?
Merchandise?
Yes. Is there any licensing untouched? Gene,
That's a tough question.
Or is that a consultancy question that would require some funding from KISS to provide?
Because the well has been tapped in so many places. I think that's a tough question to ask.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting question to ask because we have so many answers for so many other things. But if there's one thing that I think KISS has done well is merchandise. They've merchandised so many things: condoms, coffins. I mean, they've done anything you can think of. I think they've had their name on it. They have curtains and blankets, bedding sheets.
Right.
Yeah, they have. What don't they have?
Shower curtains.
You know what?
Yeah.
Bowling balls.
KISS has got you covered from conception to death. I mean, they've run the gauntlet.
You know, they haven't made like a real love gun, like a real gun. They haven't done that. The KISS gun.
KISS gun.
KISS Glock.
KISS Glock. There you go.
For your American needs.
Just
for your American needs. Yeah.
You guys were talking about back catalog, and can you guys believe this? That those remasters came out 19 years ago.
97.
That's
what I mean? It's been 19 years since I bought Hotter Than Hell on CD, for the second time on CD anyway. You know, and we talked a little bit about like the Destroyer Resurrected and the Love Gun deluxe set, but I can't believe that KISS hasn't maximized, and this goes back to Universal, I guess, too, but they haven't maximized that back catalog the way Led Zeppelin has and Black Sabbath has and Metallica is doing right, and Metallica has done recently with Ride the Lightning and Kill 'Em All. That I can't believe they're not maximizing that back catalog. Because, like I said, it's been 19 years since a lot of KISS fans have bought those albums.
I would love to see them do a 40-year Rock and Roll Over this year around the time of the anniversary. Man, I'd snatch that up in like that.
Yeah, but it'd be like the Love Gun Deluxe.
That's the problem.
Maybe not the same format.
Yeah, you'd end up with a teaching demo to I Want You and maybe a radio interview with all the static. I mean, and maybe we'll take some live recordings and overdub with drum triggers. So,
maybe they have a DVD with Ace playing poker with his buddies or something too.
Peter doing cocaine in the bathroom.
But you know what? I want to just put out my one last rant really quickly because I think it's for me. I find it kind of important. I just want to just put it out there really quick. Is the one thing that kind of bugs me with KISS is that I think that they're kind of not taking advantage of the fact that things are going well for them in one sense. That a lot of other bands now are having to come to a close. Like Rush has called it a night, and a lot of other bands have had to sort of wrap things up for various reasons, whether it's health issues and stuff like that. And Alex Lifeson has a bit of a condition with psoriasis, right? And me and him have one thing in common because I have the same problem. If you look at this hand on this finger, see this finger here? That joint is completely doubled in size compared to this one. See this middle finger here? it's completely thin, and this one, my knuckle is like double, and I can't completely bend down that finger because I have psoriasis that's moved into the joint, and it's moved into my neck here too. And I know that he's been talking about that on the Russian Rio DVD. If you look at this, watch it, he says that he has, back then he had minor issues with psoriasis, and that really hinders your playing. It really hinders my left hand for guitar playing. So I think Kiss are very lucky as a band. They don't seem to have too many ailments of that one, other than, you know, self-imposed ones, like where they, you know, maybe pop a knee or something like that. But they don't really have too many health issues in that regard that are preventing them from going on and continuing to do what they love doing. And a lot of these bands are forced to stop doing the things that they love and would love to continue doing it. And I know Neil Peart said the same thing, that, you know, it's mainly because of his health and his, you know, beaten up body that he wants to stop touring and stuff like that. So I think that those guys need to count themselves lucky for how they are. And why not still take advantage of being able to do these things and go make one more record, go do another good tour. You know, the time will come where you're not going to be able to do it anymore. And then it's going to be too late, and it's something that's difficult to live with. I know for me, it's hard because I love playing live and I'm going to still continue to do it, but I can't do it nearly as often as I would love to do it, because if I played for like 3 weeks straight on this hand, this finger would become really hard to bend after a while. I mean, I constantly do, you know, like rehabbing with water rehab with this hand so that I can get it to move and to somewhat use it for guitar playing. I mean, I'm grateful, and I knock on wood that I can still play as well as I do. But, you know, health is something that you cannot win over. If your body decides to go, you know, and call it a day on something, unless you find a really good doctor and some really miraculous medicine, then that's it, man. You're not doing it anymore. And I think that they should count themselves lucky and just take this time that you have and do something with it.
That's really cool, and thanks for sharing that with us, Mark.
Yeah.
You know,
Can't fight Father Time.
No, and keep playing. You know, simple as that. But you know, if Kiss doesn't have any ideas of how to do an album now, you know, they should listen to the latest episode of Podcast, which of course was a crossover, a different kind of circus.
Yep.
That was excellent. That was excellent.
Which I completely forgot to plug at the beginning. Sorry, Ken. Sorry, BJ. But Mark, thank you for providing a perfect segue to that.
You're welcome. But it was really well done.
So, Mark, like you said, though, if they could do another album, look, the Rolling Stones they're going to do another album, right?
Oh God, I hope not.
They are.
Yeah.
So come on, if they can do it, Kiss can do it. You know, just do it. You know, do it. You said the fans are the most
Do it with
important.
Ace, like Ken said.
Exactly, the fans are the most important thing, supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's give the fans something special with a special producer. You know, just try to do something, maybe a last hurrah or something. But I'd love to see a new album.
Okay.
Julian laughs at your idea.
It's like he's like, that's not going to happen.
Oh, I wish it.
But I
totally,
never say never, right?
Yeah, I never say never, and I never hope for anything, because, you know, hoping for things with Kiss, unfortunately, has often been futility, you know, personified, which is so sad for such an exciting band to really end up in a state that really has so many fans and former fans just saying, meh, we don't care anymore. You know, it doesn't inspire us. It doesn't, you know, there are people who don't even listen to Kiss any longer, which, you know, they've just become so bored of everything wrapped up in the band, and mostly what's occurred over the last 15 years, you know, since particularly Ace departed, that they've walked away, and that's a very sad thing. And it's so sad. It's even more sad that many of them are still participating on the message boards, ruin everyone else's trips. But oh yeah, that I feel another rant coming on.
Right.
Actually, don't fucking delete the board. Oh. Any last rants, people? I'm all ranted out.
That's about it.
Yeah, I've said what I wanted to say.
All right. Well, let's call that a show. You know, listening to us go on, I'm sure we've missed some really obvious ones. We always do because everyone's got, some really good perspectives of their own from their experiences. So, come over onto the board or onto the Facebook page and let us know some of your biggest Kiss rants. I mean, obviously, it'd be nice to hear some that we haven't thought about, or for you to chime in on, maybe where we've gone a little bit off kilter from your opinion, so do let us know. We love the conversations that we've been having after the episodes recently on the board and on Facebook, and do appreciate everyone who chimes in with their opinion, good or bad. It's a two-way conversation, so we love hearing what you say. So from the FAQ podcast crew, Ken and Lonnie and Mark, thank you for listening, and we will catch you next time. Thank you for spending time listening to the KissFAQ podcast today. All sales are final. There are no refunds. If you'd like, look us up on Facebook or come over to the KissFAQ message board and discuss the topic we broadcast today. Don't forget to rate us on iTunes, Spreaker, or wherever you've listened to the show. We hope you'll join us again.